Kevin Emmons, and they'll all be talking some Burlington County football. But Phil, we got our first real full week of football last week. How about your impressions?
Well, it's great to finally get started. You know, Marc,
Yeah.
it's like we've been waiting for about a month now for the season to get going. You know, we had a couple teams. Lenape, Timber Creek played against out-of-state teams. I thought showed very well. Camden's defense, I thought, looked terrific against Winslow. And the two teams we have here tonight, Shawnee and Cherokee, off to terrific starts. So we'll get going. This week coming up is our first full, complete week, week one. This was 0 week, but it was a good start for South Jersey football.
Yeah, and you know, when you look at South Jersey football, last year's consensus #1 ranked team, the Haddonfield Bulldogs, who ended 13-0. Haddonfield begins this season with a 14-6 win over Pleasantville, Phil. And Frank Delano gets career win number 134. I didn't know he was old enough to have that many wins.
Just a terrific accomplishment by Frank. You know, and this is a guy who early in his career was not really racking up that many wins. I mean, he really had to build that program up.
Yeah.
And, you know, the wonderful thing about it, I think, from Frank's standpoint, Marc, is that, you know, there's tremendous history, tradition there at Haddonfield, and nobody appreciates that more than Frank. So for him to be at the top of that list is really something special.
Yeah, and Haddonfield, of course, had 4 turnovers, but still was able to win. Now to the crowd, we'll go to Marc Zimmaro.
All right, thanks, guys. We're here at the side stage at Chickies and Petes Marlton. We have Shawnee, we have Cherokee down the hall. A lot of hungry guys here. I got one of them with me. This is offensive lineman Alex Pfeiffer. I was told by his teammates that he's the biggest eater on the team. Alex, why do you have this recognition?
I'll pretty much eat whatever they put in front of me. I mean, ever since I was a young age, I could probably house like 5 steaks right now. I'm actually going to go to Five Guys across the street, probably pick up like 5 burgers on the way home, and then probably make, you know, a couple milkshakes after that, and then go to bed, wake up, you know, eat like half dozen eggs, and, you know, start my day.
How big are you, height, weight?
Height, I'm like a nice 6'3", 6'3.5". Weight, like, you know, 275 if like colleges are looking, like, you know, 275, 280.
Oh, hey, always recruiting here. So all your guys are here. What'd you guys eat tonight?
I actually had 2 orders of the crab fries, and I had like 5 slices of pizza. I actually had to wrestle Ben Emily to get one. He's right over there.
Well, how tough was practice today that you guys are so hungry?
You know, practice was tough. Like, we always try to go. We were always 100% no matter what. I did work up quite an appetite. I went home, you know, got a couple of protein bars, and, you know, now I'm here.
Does it make you work harder knowing that your opponents are right on the other side of the bar here?
I work hard no matter what, no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing. I'm always going 100%.
Okay, well, you know, they say it takes a village to feed all these kids, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, the football clubs chipped in, Chickies and Petes, the TD Community Outreach Program, everybody chipping in to feed all these guys, and they're still hungry. I think he's going to go try to arm wrestle somebody for that last piece of pizza over there.
Listen, I'll fight whoever, whenever, wherever to get a slice of pizza. It doesn't matter.
All right, well, look for Alex this week against Cherokee. He's going to be trying to pancake some guys out there, speaking of food. We'll send it back to you.
Very much, Marc, and of course thanks to TD Bank's Community Outreach Program for enabling us to bring more of these football players here to Chickie and Petes and have a great meal. Phil, one other game I want to mention to you, not with powerful teams, but how about Camden Catholic getting off the snide and getting a victory after a winless season last year, this one over Bishop Eustace?
Really great for the Irish. You know, such a difficult year last year, starting really from May when, you know, all the controversy hit with Nick Strom leaving, and then a new coach comes in, and that doesn't quite work out. And, you know, the players are experiencing a real difficult situation, 0-10. But, you know, a lot of those guys hung in there. A new coach now, and they get off to a great start with a victory over a big rival of theirs, Bishop Eustace. Anytime Camden Catholic can beat Bishop Eustace in any sport, it's a big win for the Irish, but extra special for the football program, what those kids have been through, you know, the last 18 months or so.
Yeah, hey Phil, you know, Timber Creek went on an extended road trip to Virginia, winning 58-7, but the big news was sophomore quarterback Donovan Leary.
Well, we know the name Leary when it comes to touchdown passes. This is Donovan Devin's younger brother. You know, played a little bit as a freshman, kind of got his feet wet a little bit, but boy, is he off to a good start with 6 touchdown passes in a big win over a team from Virginia. So that bodes well for the Chargers going forward because they got 3 more years of Donovan Leary.
Yeah, and don't think that he's going to challenge his brother and let him hear about it, too, for the touchdown record. Phil, I thought one of the most impressive wins of the first full week, West Deptford beating a very good Paulsboro team, 31-14.
You know, Mark, this is another one of those games, and there's quite a few of them that used to be a Thanksgiving weekend game and now has moved to opening day. So it's a real challenge for the programs to start the season, you know, against a traditional rival and a very, very difficult team. But what an impressive start for the Eagles to go into Paulsboro and really handle what should be a very good Paulsboro team that I think by the end of the year will contend for a South Jersey Group 1 title. But West Deptford off to a flying start. Tyshawn Bookman, Gavin Shields with 2 touchdowns apiece. Real impressive victory for the Eagles. Shows them really to be the favorite, I think, on paper for that West Jersey Colonial title, and certainly a South Jersey Group 2 challenger as well.
There's no question. You know, I've always thought that Bookman, who really came on the scene last year, really an underrated back, 135 yards last week. And as you mentioned, West Deptford always has been known for spreading it around. That makes them tough to defend.
100%, but he's a guy that's perfect for their system. He runs hard. He blocks. You know, West Deptford backs always have to block in addition to carrying the ball on that wing tee. And he's an all-around player, terrific defensive player as well, Mark. So real good start for him, and again, bodes very well for West Deptford moving forward.
Phil, this is no surprise. Camden 24, Winslow Township nothing. Last year, Camden was one of the best defensive teams in South Jersey. I guess things haven't changed.
Well, Tyreek Austin Cave is still there. He's the Miami-bound linebacker.
Yeah.
I saw he scored 2 points on defense himself by registering a safety. But they got some other dudes as well. This Deuce Chestnut returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown to kind of get the season off to a resounding start. So great start for the Panthers of Camden. I think their offense will be a little bit of a work in progress this season, but defensively they look like they're in mid-season form.
And joining us is Marc Zimmaro, who's running a lot of miles here at Chickie and Petes in Marlton. Hey, Marc, you saw Shawnee last week defeat RV 45-7. Now, I know RV lost quite a bit to graduation. That's a nice start for the Renegades.
It was a convincing win, Mark. I mean, right from the get-go, Shawnee seemed to have the push on the offensive line. They were just kind of, you know, they controlled the line of scrimmage, and when you do that, great things happen. You can't speak enough about the quarterback, Matt Wellesley. You know, just a sophomore, got in halfway through the season last year, and he looks like a veteran pro right now. I mean, he's scrambling, he's finding time, he's out there, he's completing passes to a really good crop of wide receivers. And Shawnee just looks really good right now. I mean, they're saying there's still a lot of work to be done, but it looks pretty good so far.
You know, Phil, when they put Wellesley in there at quarterback last year, that's when Shawnee, I know you think that's when Shawnee took off.
It really did kind of change things around, and what it did was freed up Joe Dalsey, who was a great player for them last year, away from quarterback, which was really a strain on him and kind of limited him a little bit defensively, his ability to run the ball, his ability to catch the ball. That kind of changed things around for them. Wellesley is like Mark said, a classic quarterback, really understands the position, and that really kind of freed Dalsey up, and I think that kind of invigorated the whole team. They took off from there, from 2-6, won a South Jersey Group 4 title, went in and played very well in the bowl game, and now he's back, and like Donovan Leary, he's a quarterback that's got 3 more years. So watch him and watch Shawnee moving forward.
The coaches believe in him. The coaching staff believes in this guy, too. I mean, just as a freshman last year, he came in, and Tim Gushu, who's been coaching for many, many years, gave the kid the keys to the car and said, let's go. And they wound up winning a South Jersey title.
Staying in the county, I thought one of the biggest wins this week, Cinnaminson 21, Delran 10. How about that? I thought that Delran, with what it had back, might be the favorite in that division.
Well, I think on paper they were, and they got R.J. Moten, the Michigan-bound all-purpose, standout, and certainly I think they came into the season with a lot of confidence. They won 8 games last year. They had lost to Cinnaminson. They had circled this game. This is another game, Mark. Used to be Thanksgiving Day, got moved to opening day, and that's kind of a double-edged sword. Sometimes you're not quite ready for a tough opponent. And I think Cinnaminson was ready to play, and a little bit of a statement win for them by handling their rival and a Delran team that I think is going to win a lot of games. They handled them pretty good on opening day.
You know, Mark, I think Cinnamonston has had something like 6 or more wins 8 straight years. I think Mario Patrizi has really stamped that program. I mean, no matter how much they lose, this team's a contender.
He really has. I mean, he's been at the school a long time. He's the baseball coach first. He comes in as the football coach. Just kind of changed things around. And you know what else is great is they got a great bunch of guys on that coaching staff around him. A lot of guys that have been there many, many years, and they just have a good connection with the kids there. They get the most out of them, and you know it's a tough team year after year. They're just a team that's always there.
You know, the special teams team of the week has to be Lenape. Last week, playing a team from New York, Phil, winning 41-22. Going crazy on special teams.
I'm not sure I've ever heard of a team returning 3 kickoffs for touchdowns, but that's what Lenape did against that team from New York, Tottenville, New York, I think they were, and Xavier Coleman, their all-purpose junior standout return, 2 of them. Connor Kennedy had another one. So, you prepare all season long. You think about your offense. You think about your defense. Obviously, Lenape was thinking a little bit about special teams as well, and it paid off big time for the Indians.
You know, Mark, Coleman is a guy that also maybe gets lost in the publicity shuffle. I think he's one of the better juniors in South Jersey.
Oh, without a question. I mean, you talk about your dynamic players, and he's one of them. I mean, he's getting recruited by so many different schools right now, so he's definitely on the radar. He's not like a guy that's slipping underneath. But, yeah, as far as headlines go, Lenape kind of loses a little bit with teams like Shawnee and Cherokee right in their school district. Sometimes Lenape doesn't get the publicity everybody else does, but Xavier Coleman is a guy to watch. He can do it all. And
we're going to talk about the games to watch for this coming week. Lenape has a pretty big one with the St. Augustine. Phil, you talked about all these Thanksgiving games moved to the first week. How about Clearview beating Kingsway 14-7, double overtime at Rowan?
This is another game that used to be Thanksgiving weekend, now moved to opening day, got moved to Rowan as Kingsway's field is being revamped. And these are traditional rivals, Mark. This is the Battle of 322. For years and years, it was Danny Pitcock against Tony Barchuk. Those guys went head-to-head for years and years. 2 very good teams, 2 tough teams this year, and I think are going to win a lot of games. And Clearview, which has really come on last year, made the South Jersey Group 4 final, showing they're going to be back again this year with a very impressive win over a team that I think is going to make some noise in Group 5 in Kingsway.
Yeah, no question about it. Mark, you got to see a county team step out of county. In fact, you and I were both there when Burlington City shut out Haddon Heights 20-0. What a game by DJ Woodbury, maybe one of the most versatile and one of the best players in South.
DJ Woodbury isn't satisfied with being just a physical presence. The Burlington City senior is learning to be a leader through trial and error.
I'm learning. I'm not the best leader. I'm learning each and every week. I'm learning how to grow, how to react to certain things, how to adjust to certain things, and I think I'm doing an okay job. I got a lot to learn, but I think I'm doing okay right now.
The skills and talent are in place. Woodbury, who is also a standout basketball player, had a fantastic junior season, catching 51 passes for 903 yards and 13 touchdowns. Coach Ray Robinson plans to use Woodbury in many more situations this year at many other positions, including quarterback.
He can throw the football, he can run the football, he can catch kicks, return kicks, he can get interceptions. There's not much on this field that he can't do, and that's hard to defend.
The extra snaps are A-OK with Woodbury.
I just enjoy winning. I really don't care where they throw me. Quarterback, running back, safety, it don't matter. I just want to win. That's my mindset. I want this team to improve each and every week, and I just want to win.
Woodbury, who has committed to play football at Temple University next year, has perhaps a bigger influence on his teammates than he knows. When DJ speaks, the Blue Devils listen and follow his example.
Just to hear him speak and hear the impact that he's able to have on those guys, and then it's just a trickle down from the senior class, so if he can have that sort of impact with them, and it's not just one-sided, they also impact him, he soaks everything up from them, so his athleticism speaks for itself. What people don't know about him is that he's a great kid.
Burlington City started off the season with a 20-0 victory over Haddon Heights, but despite the impressive result, Woodbury said there's more work for him to do, especially in his new leadership role.
Get them better each and every week. Make them learn, the things I did wrong and try to teach him not to do, and to try to grow in as a leader and as a person each and every week.
He really can do it all. I saw these guys in the preseason, and Coach Ray Robinson was kind of shy about how he was going to use DJ Robinson. I'm sure he knew, but he didn't want to let the secret out. And after a little slow start to the game, he shifted him to quarterback, ran the Wildcat, and before you know it, they're putting points on the board. Because you put the ball in DJ's hands, and great things are going to happen.
Yeah, no question about it. But we'll have much more here. 1st and 10 from Chickies and Petes. We'll be talking to the players and coach from Cherokee and Shawnee. That and more when we return.
He doesn't.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write. The ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are Temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Hi, it's Angelo here at Chickies and Petes. Let's see what's on the menu. How about mussels red and mussels white? Ooh. Crabs, and more crabs. Philly-style sandwiches and handcrafted burgers. Ooh. The coldest draft and best selection of craft beer. World-famous crab fry. Ooh. Only at Chickies and Petes. Where else?
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
And welcome back to Chickie and Petes Marlton. Marc Narducci, Phil Anastasia, and now our guests are from Shawnee High School. Dalton Short to my right, and the venerable coach, Tim Gushu, to the left. The Renegades coming off a 45-7 win opening week over Rancocas Valley. How'd you feel about that? You got one of the touchdowns, Dalton.
It felt great. I mean, finally get out there, hit another team in a different color. Yeah, it was great to see my teammates, just we bonded. We bought into the system, and I think we played really well. So,
Dalton, tremendous tradition here at Shawnee. You're wearing the 44. How special is that for you?
Oh, it's super special. I mean, sophomore year I played with Colin Wetterow, and then last year, obviously, Joey Dulce, and I grew up with both those guys. So, I mean, seeing those guys, like the way that they lead the team and the way, like the type of people they are, I couldn't be more honored to wear it, to be honest with you. So.
Tim, your team might have the toughest schedule in South Jersey. Nothing new, by the way, but you're in the American Division. Your non-league games murder. But last year you had a tough schedule, and it paid dividends. You won the South Jersey Group 4 title.
No question, Mark. I mean, I'm a firm believer team gets better every week. I mean, you hear this common cliche, iron sharpens iron, and it's really true. I mean, our players were battle tested. So when we got into the Group 4 tournament, we felt pretty good because we knew we had played, great competition week in, week out. And that's really how you get better.
Dalton, talk about that a little bit. How much do you guys look forward to the fact that you pretty much have a big game every week?
Oh, I love it, to be honest with you. I mean, you got to beat the king to be the king. So we were playing those tough teams, Williamstown, Union City. Then once we got in the playoffs, we played Mainland, and then Millville was a big game, but I think because of our schedule, we took Millville the way that we did. So I love it. It's a tough schedule.
Tim, last year, some would say a pretty gutsy move as a coach. You went with a freshman quarterback partway through the season. That paid dividends. Now he's emerging, isn't he, as one of the better ones around?
No doubt about it. I mean, we knew he had a good chance last year, Unfortunately, he'd had an ankle injury in late July, and I think if that didn't happen, South Jersey may have seen him a little sooner. And this is no knock on Joe Dalsey, but Joe went there because we needed somebody to kind of take the reins. And then when we got about midway through the year, Matt had come up and practiced with us a lot. So it really wasn't a big surprise to us that he was going to do that well. And now he has those 6 games under his belt. Now his first win this week, and he had a great game. He's very intuitive, great football IQ. He makes great decisions, and we give him a lot of autonomy after the ball snapped. He makes a lot of decisions on his own where to go with the ball.
Is that something, Tim, that you later in your career you've done that a little bit more than you used to? Were you a little bit tougher on your quarterbacks earlier, or have you always
I would say early on, no doubt. But we were really blessed. Billy Kurtz, who you well know. Fred Lynette, led us to an undefeated season. Michael Welsh, probably the leading passer in school history. I would say since those guys came on board, when a young man has that ability and they understand the game, we've done more and more of that, yes.
Dalton, you scored. You were telling me it was on a screen pass against Rakoka's. How good's it feel to get to the end zone, get that first one, out of the way?
It feels good. I mean, junior year, I did run the ball a few times, and I scored once, and that felt really good. And then to get one in the first game this year, it felt great.
Dalton, I know last year is last year, but I'm wondering your perspective on what last year was like. You guys 2-6.
Yeah.
How was the team able to stay together and kind of turn it on in the playoffs? What was your perspective on that?
So I received that question earlier in the year, and it's the same thing. We came together every week. So we would come in. I can vividly remember we played Union City. I couldn't even feel my legs after the game. We came in Saturday morning. We're stretching out. I'm just looking at the older guys, John Searcy, Pat O'Hanlon, Dalsey. And they're like, we're going to stick this out. We're going to win this thing. I'm like, here we go. So we just came together. It's a brotherhood. So that's basically what it was.
You talk about the senior leadership last year. How much do you and the other seniors this year, kind of revere that tradition at Shawnee and want to continue that in terms of the senior leadership?
Yeah, we definitely want to continue. I mean, they're such great leaders that they kind of rubbed it off on us. And so that's my goal, is to be a leader and rub it off on the younger guys so next year that they can lead as well.
Hey, Tim, give us a scouting report on this guy. He had 86 tackles last year. He's always around the ball. Tell us about Dalton.
Well, there's no question. Dalton's one of the top defenders in South Jersey, top players. Has a great knowledge of the game. Spends time studying the opponent. And he's a playmaker. It's that simple. He's a game changer. And a lot of colleges have already, called me and looking at him. And I think he's going to have a really bright future going forward. But we want to enjoy his last year's career at Shawnee and hopefully play a whole bunch more games this year.
Tim, you talk a little bit about your schedule, and everybody kind of knows the South Jersey teams that you play. But one of the more interesting games you have this year is coming up in October. That's a game at Union City that might have the most unique stadium in the United States. Tell people about that stadium there.
Yeah, sure. When I first found out, crazy enough, I was actually in South Africa last February, or a year ago, when we were looking for an extra game. So the only team that showed up across the state was Union City. So I called some of my buddies, John Fiore at Montclair, John Jacob at Wayne Hills. I said, tell me about it. Oh, yeah, hey, Will's a great guy. Will Valdez, the head coach. So we called him up, and he said, sure, coach, love to play you guys. And I know they were Group 5 semifinalists last year, but their stadium is literally on the roof of the school. So you drive up the turnpike to basically where the Holland Tunnel is. I forget what exit that is. I'll find out. And there you are. The school's right there. And from what I remember, I think, Phil, you mentioned earlier, it's the most densely populated, metropolitan area in the country. So they didn't have room for their field, so they put it on the roof. So, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have played up there, and we're looking forward to that challenge when that comes.
Dalton, I know it's down the road, but how much are you looking forward to that game?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Even our cheerleaders were asking me, we're going to be cheerleading on the roof? I'm like, I'm going to be playing on the roof, so I get, yeah. So,
hey, that's a big game, but come on, it's Shawnee Cherokee this week. That is always a big game.
Yeah.
Great sportsmanship between the two teams. Both are here tonight at Chickie and Petes. But how about playing? You must be ready right now to go play them.
I mean, I was actually talking about it today at lunch. Number 3, Don Pajola, we were looking at each other. I'm like, you remember we were walking off the field and we said we're going to play here our senior year. And it's time. So, I mean, game week right now, I can't wait to see what it's like. They got one of the best stadiums in South Jersey. I can only imagine that place is going to be packed to the brim. And I can't wait to see how the game turns out to be.
Tim, you've been around the rivalry with, Shawnee and Cherokee for years and years. Just talk a little bit about how special it is.
Well, it is, and there's some interesting sidelines. Dalton's dad went to Cherokee and played football there and wrestled. And, of course, we have Don Frajola, who he mentioned. His dad played for Coach Horner there. All right. Jim Horner's on our staff now. Gene Schulman was there for 25 years. Now he's on our staff. So, Shawnee Cherokee has always been a big thing. I mean, people say, how'd you get Coach Horner to come to Shawnee? I said, look, back early in my career, they beat us like 10 straight years. I said, I always tell people, you learn a lot through adversity. And it was a lot of adversity. It wasn't always fun, but I learned a lot. And Jim taught me a lot. I've tried to really watch how he built that program. And now, hey, every year it's a great game. I mean, it's a great game. We were fortunate enough to pull it out last year, 21-14. Year before that, they beat us in double overtime. Year before that, we pulled off a little bit of an upset. So Shawnee Cherokee, it's like Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I mean, it's a big deal. Fans care, the schools care, the administrators, the student body. It's always fun.
Yeah.
And Dalton's right. Playing there, I equate it to like Clemson, Death Valley.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like when you're down there. And it's always loud, and it's a great atmosphere.
Yeah,
so it's great for the young men to go out and compete against a really good football team.
Yeah.
How do you probably want to go right now and play them. You played them tonight and all.
Yeah.
But you know what's nice? I have to ask you one more thing. We have to go soon.
Yeah.
That championship ring.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
I did have to bring it out for this. I
Show
love
it up
this
to the
thing.
camera a little bit.
Where is it?
There. Yeah, there you go.
Look at that baby. Yeah. We worked hard for that thing. I remember the ring ceremony. It was like looking back on the season, we handled the adversity well, and then we got what we wanted, and there it is right there. So,
Tim, you've won several South Jersey titles, in your career. Last year was probably one of the most unique ones in that you went in with that 2-6 record. I know they're all good, they're all special. Talk a little bit about how special last year was.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we always preach to the boys, stick together, no matter what happens. You're brothers. You take the process, try to get a little bit better every day. And when we got to the tournament and got in, I said, guys, they made one mistake. They invited us to the party. And these guys, Dalton and his teammates, took care of the rest. So it was really special. I mean, anytime you're down we all preach as coaches and as parents, tell your children, never give up. Never give up. Well, that's a testament to these young men. And these guys come from great families who preach the same things we do, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
Well, Tim, I think they're going to make a mistake and invite you again this year. But anyway, best of luck, and thanks for joining us, Dalton. Great talking to you. When we come back, we'll have the Cherokee side of it right here at 1st and 10 at Chickie and Petes.
For opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write. The ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are
And welcome back to Chickie and Petes Marlton. Marc, Narducci, Phil, Anastasia, and now we have the Cherokee contingent. Andy Walters, outside linebacker, and head coach Brian Glatz. The Chiefs coming off a 51-6 victory over Washington Township. How about, Andy, getting off to a big start like that? What's that do for the team's confidence?
Felt great. It's a big momentum booster. Feels great coming into next week knowing we have a win under our belt.
How about you, Brian? I mean, it's only one game, and every coach says, win or lose, we got to turn the page, but it has to be very exciting for you in terms of the momentum, confidence built, with a win like that opening day.
Yeah, the kids were excited, it's good to see them, they've been working for that moment, and good to see them get some fruit from their labor, throughout several workouts and into it. As you said, you turn the page, you got to get ready for the next one. Our schedule's such that, you can't dwell on one. You got to get ready for the next one.
Yeah. Was it one of those games where everything kind of went your way? It looked like you got some special teams, some defensive turnovers. And I know you've been on the other side of it at times. Everybody has, but was it kind of a game where things just kind of rolled your guys' way?
I guess you could say that. I mean, sometimes those things are created.
Yep.
With energy, we'll call it that. It is for us to continue to have some consistency with that.
Andy, last year was a tough season for Cherokee with the one victory and all. How much is it to get started like this? And this looks like it's a totally different Cherokee team.
It is a different Cherokee team. We got a lot of depth this year, and it feels great knowing we have that one win. We're just going to build off of it and keep winning games.
What about your defense? You're a big part of the defense. Talk to me about the strength of this Cherokee defense.
I think we have a really good defense. We're all really smart, and we play with a herd mentality, swarming to the ball, and just being relentless mostly.
Andy, I know, tremendous tradition at Cherokee. How difficult was last year, and how were you guys able to kind of stay together? Coach had talked about how, you lost some games, but the team kind of stayed together. A lot of tough losses, but nobody kind of bailed on the team.
Yeah.
How important was that, and how much are you guys kind of building on that this year?
We have a great bond. Even though we were losing games, we stuck by each other's side. We worked really hard in the off season, and we knew this season would be different, and so far it has been.
Brian, it doesn't get any easier in this division. We talked to Tim Gashu about it. It's one of the toughest, if not the toughest, in South Jersey. You have to play the Renegades this week. How about that? It's always a great matchup.
Well, you look at them and, returning champions for Group 4, and you watch the film. I mean, you can just see, it's a group that's been together and they're well coached. It's going to be a challenge for sure.
Right, as a player, as an assistant coach, and now as a head coach, you've experienced this Shawnee-Cherokee rivalry. Talk about a little bit about how special it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime you got, across town and both teams, both programs traditionally have been very successful. It's obviously it builds to something like that. But for us, once you cross the line, it really becomes just another game. And that's the way you got to prepare, just like any other. Obviously there is some build up to it. I see Coach Gushu all the time, and so we see each other all the time. So it's like it's nice to go head to head once in a while, rather than just talk and shop every so often.
How about you, Andy? Facing the Renegades, you must know some of the players there.
Yeah, I know some of the players.
How pumped up are you for this? This is one of the great rivalries in South Jersey.
Yeah, it's a great rivalry. I'm really excited. It's always cool playing kids that you know, and everyone being around in the game that you know. So, hope we can come out with a win.
Probably when you were in school, was Shawnee your big rivalry, or was somebody else a bigger rivalry?
I mean, I remember I think when I was coming through junior, senior year, that may have been Coach Gushue's first or second year coaching.
That's how old he is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But back then, I guess Pemberton was they had, and then of course we had some things with Penn Salkin. I mean, they were pretty darn good back there in '84, and then Brick Township. They were those were more the teams I remember us being big rival with at those times.
Having been a player on some great Cherokee teams, being an assistant coach on some great Cherokee teams, how special is it for you now to sort of be in charge of this program and try to keep that tradition going?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I live and breathe it. It's something that I've grown up with. My brother played in '81 and '82, and then I played in '85. I mean, I've been a part of Cherokee football. It's been part of my life, for just about my whole life. So it's really just, it's in me. It's just part of me, and so it's just an extension, and continuing to give to the program, and continuing to try and build it and move it in the right direction.
Andy, how about you? This is a program steeped in tradition. Were you one of these little kids that always went to Cherokee games, hoping one day you'd be a chief?
Definitely. I can remember being in elementary school and middle school, being on the hill and watching the players come down, just hoping to get that opportunity one day.
Andy, you talk about the hill. We were talking to Tim Gushue before and Dalton Short from Shawnee, and they both talked about how special Cherokee's field is. What's it like for you guys to come down that hill and to play at a place that has such great tradition?
It's awesome. It's one of the best feelings walking down the hill with the whole stadium behind your back. It's also a great stadium just for people to be around. There's a lot of people. It's a great hill.
Hey Brian, talk to us about your quarterback Osborne. I know he was banged up a year ago. He had a great opening game, 183 yards, 2 TDs. Tell us a little bit about him.
Billy last summer, I mean, we were out of practice in June, goes to throw a flag route, and he popped his growth plate on his elbow. I was standing right there, and I heard it go. And so he had to get surgery. So he was out for the year last year, but never missed a practice. Stayed into it. I mean, he's a football kid, loves football. The moment he was cleared, he was getting back into it. So he's been really prepping for this since December of last year. It's not something that just he started up, in August. He lives and breathes it. His father's a football guy, and so it's a football family, and he's a good kid, and he's a competitor, which gotta love that.
What about this guy here, Brian? Tell us a little bit about Andy and what he means to your team.
Well, Andy, he'll play any position. Last year he played quarterback a little bit for us. I could probably put him at center or guard, and he would.
You think you'd go for that, Andy?
I don't know if I'd like that too much.
I like it, but I could put him there, and he's going to give a good effort.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a smart, heady kid. I don't know. What's the SAT, Andy? I mean, you get. He's killing it. He's like a 5.8 weighted GPA, and that's the kind of kid he is, But he's also a competitor, and he'll bang with the best of them. So he's.
It's a nice job doing the job in the classroom. How obviously you take academics seriously.
Yeah, definitely. My parents have always really embedded that into me, focusing on school being first, because obviously football is not going to be there at sports. So I really try my best to pay attention in class and do my best.
Brian, was there anything opening night that kind of jumped out at you that either surprised you or was very pleasing to you and your coaches, as far as maybe some stuff you had worked on in the summer that really came to fruition on the first game? Anything in particular that you really were happy with?
I mean, the thing that I liked is, of course you have your starting offense, your starting defense, but we had some kids that are special teams kids go in and make plays, and it was just nice because those kids are working. and they want to be part of it, and they're getting, and they got after it, and those kids made some good plays. That's what I really was pleased with, to see that energy from those guys. But, and that builds everything else up as well. So.
Well, Brian, Andy, thank you very much for joining us. As we said to Shawnee, best of luck on Friday.
Liar.
we hope it's a heck of a game. We're glad to have the Cherokee contingent joining us here at Chickie and Petes. When we come back, it's the Inquirer South Jersey Top 10 and much more. You're watching First and 10.
And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write.
And welcome back to First and 10 here from Chickie and Petes in Marlton. Now we're with some real Burlington County experts. To my right, Kevin Emmons of the Burlington County Times, and you know Marc Zimmaro. He's been here a number of times this show, also from the BCT. Kevin, you covered a wild game. Holy Cross is down 21-0 and wins.
Yes, it was a very impressive performance. Holy Cross was down 14-0 at halftime. Come out in the third quarter, still playing, a little sluggish. Scotch Plains Fanwood goes up 21-0 with about 8 minutes left in the third quarter. And then from there, Holy Cross just took off. Scored a touchdown, converted a 2-point conversion, convert on the onside kick, get another touchdown, and then the fourth quarter they just dominated, had all the momentum. Josiah Bello, junior defensive back he had 3 total touchdowns. He had 2 receiving touchdowns to start the run, and then he had a 10-yard interception return touchdown to seal the deal. Scored 30 unanswered points. It was a very impressive performance.
Wow, and Marc, that shouldn't surprise you, right? You know the history of the Lancers.
I do, and I got to see him in the preseason a little bit. To me, the guy to watch is Nasir Abney. He is this thunderous running back that they have. He goes at about like 260 or so. He looks like he could get served at the bar over there. He just doesn't look like a sophomore, and that's what he is. And he's going to be on a lot of people's radar soon. But a lot of it was, Holy Cross last year, they had a different coaching staff. This year, Tim Durkin takes over. He's kind of served as the athletic director as well. He's really stepped up to take on a lot of roles in the school, and he's just created a different atmosphere for these kids. I mean, it started. They have a new players' lounge in the school, and it's just a lot of cool things for the kids that make them want to play there. And it's really kind of changing things.
Phil, how about Holy Cross? I mean, we were wondering whether the school was going to be open. They did a good job in that, and now it looks like a little bit of a resurgence for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, the actual school did close. I mean, the Diocese of Trenton actually backed out, and they reopened as Holy Cross Academy. And, one of the things that a school in this situation needs to do is to be successful in sports. It helps the school stay open. I mean, like it or not, it really does attract students. It engages the student body. It engages the alumni. So Tim Durkin, as Marc said, is really, really driven, I think, to kind of get that football program, the overall athletic program going. And they got a long way to go. They have a tough battle keeping that school open, but certainly they're off to a great start.
Kevin, you're at another game, and a Morristown team that ended last season winning 4 of its last 5 games comes in and beats Seneca 24-14. How about that? Impressive win by the Quakers.
Yes, the Quakers were very impressive on Friday night. That game was tied up at 7 going into halftime. Morristown comes down the second half, takes a 24-7 lead, was very commanding. Quarterback Adam Robinson, he played linebacker and tight end for the Quakers last year. Made the move to quarterback. He's a dual threat quarterback. Was very impressive. Had 16 carries for 92 yards. Only threw 6 times, so he had 4 completions, 36 yards. So he can really do it both. As a team, they had nearly, I believe, 300 rushing yards. And what was even more impressive was their rush defense, holding Seneca to only 29 yards on the ground.
It's a great rivalry, too. I've caught that game a few years, in the past, and I'm glad to see it kind of get resurged because they're just 2 good programs. They're an even match, and it always seems to go down to the wire, and it's a good battle of 2 well-run programs.
Yeah, and Phil, Morristown in a tough division, so to get off the start like that's a big boost for the Quakers.
It really is. I mean, opening day, you don't want to overreact to it. When you lose, you win, you got to turn the page and move on, as every coach will tell you, but it really is a boost for the players' confidence, momentum when you can get that first one under your belt, especially, as Marc said, against a rival and a real good program in Seneca, a team I think is going to win some games this year.
Well, Phil, you worked so hard doing the Philadelphia Inquirer Top 10, both sides of the river. In your South Jersey rankings, St. Joe remains number 1, Williamstown 2, St. Augustine 3, Woodrow Wilson 4, Shawnee 5.
Shawnee moves up to 5 with a very impressive win over RV. Woodrow Wilson, number 14, Marc, hasn't played yet. They're 0-0. They'll finally open Saturday against Camden Catholic, so we'll get to see the Tigers for the first time. But Shawnee, I think, a very impressive team. Tim Gashu trying to downplay their how good that team is a little bit, as any coach would. I think they're very strong this year.
How about your thoughts on Shawnee?
Well, I haven't seen them yet this year, but I've seen them a lot last year. I know they return a lot of players.
Yeah.
And one player that really impressed me on that team is Matt Welsey. I know you guys mentioned him before.
Sure.
I seen him last year as a freshman, and just even in times when they're down, I mean, he's always had so much composure and stuff like that. And he's a young player, and it's very rare you see that from a young guy coming in, taking on that role, I should say, and just having so much composure and being able to deliver for his team.
Welsey's getting the headlines, but I mean, I was at the game. The defense is the thing for this team, and the guys up front. I gotta look at their names because I know the numbers, but Mike Jarvis and Matt Suriano, and then the Papa twins, Tom and Matt. I mean, these guys. It was amazing how they just shut down RV, which had some skilled guys, and they just pushed them back. And Mike Jarvis, number 42, you could see him just making these one-handed tackles that are just amazing. He just grabs onto a guy and hauls him down. I mean, they have some big monsters on this team, and I've seen them eat tonight. I mean, I know why it's happening.
Getting even bigger.
Yes.
I hope they save some for us. But, by the way, the rest of that top 10, Pennsgrove, number 6, Highland 7, Lenape 8, Camden 9, and West Stepford 10.
Right, well, Group 2 last year was terrific, if you remember. A tremendous tournament, and there's a lot of solid, established programs in Group 2. Two we didn't mention, Haddonfield, the reigning champion, which right now has a active 17-game winning streak, Mark. And Cedar Creek, which is another team very much to watch. They'll actually host Camden this week in a very interesting game. So Group 2, I think, loaded again this year.
There's no question about it. And speaking of games this week, there's several big ones. Since we're talking so much about it, I have to get your opinion. Shawnee and Cherokee, what do you think?
Well, it's definitely going to be a good game. I mean, we seen last week both teams had impressive wins, dominating in both their games. It's going to be a good one. Every year it's close. Every year it's a battle. We'll see what happens come this weekend.
What do you think, Mark?
I didn't hear him pick anything. We used to pick these games for the paper all the time, and every year I would get this game wrong. Whoever I think's going to win always loses. Sorry, Shawnee. I think the Shawnee might be the better team just based off of the tough year Cherokee had last year, but anything could happen in this game.
Speaking of county teams, one of the best games this week, St. Augustine takes on Lenape, Phil. This is going to be a major test for Lenape. Last year, they played one of the toughest schedules in South Jersey, went 5-6 and made the playoffs.
They did, very battle tested, and they're bringing a lot of guys back. But this is one of the games in which they will be tested. St. Augustine, very strong team this year. It's a big game in the West Jersey American, but this will really go a long way towards showing how far Lenape has come.
What about Lenape? You're very familiar with them. What do you think of the Indians, Kevin?
Well, I said coming into this year, Lenape was a team that everyone in South Jersey needed to watch. I know last year you're saying they were 5-6, and for Lenape that might be a down year. But seeing them play, they were very competitive. Yeah. They play in the WJFL American, which is one of the best divisions in South Jersey. But they're led by Xavier Coleman. I know he recently picked up a Washington State offer. He holds a couple Division I offers. They have a good defense and a lot of athletic guys. So I think this is a big matchup for them, and this is really a chance for them to prove themselves.
Well, as you can see behind us, we have lots of football players from both teams, Shawnee and Cherokee, as they get ready for Friday's epic matchup. Hey guys, it's been great having you here. It's been great having you here, and we look forward certainly to seeing the games. It's been Nah, we're not picking the score right now, but
coaches are next. Coaches are next.
And the coaches are next, and it just should be a great epic battle. Well,
Sharp City, baby.
The ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are Temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Hi, it's Angelo here at Chickies and Petes. Let's see what's on the menu. How about mussels red and mussels white? Crabs, and more crab. Philly-style sandwiches and handcrafted burgers. The coldest draft and best selection of craft beer. World-famous crab fries. Only at Chickies and Petes. Where else?
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas,
I don't think they're cheering for us, Phil.
Yeah, absolutely not.
No, we have both teams back here, Shawnee and Cherokee, and Coach Kashoot, isn't this a great thing that, on Friday you both want to beat each other's brains in, but here, you're sitting here, you're enjoying each other's company.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we have a great, long-lasting history with Cherokee, and each game is always a real tough, contested battle. We talk a lot about the team that plays the hardest, the longest, is probably going to be victorious on Friday night, and you're always going to get Cherokee's best, and hopefully we're going to bring our best as well.
Brian, how much do you think your kids enjoy this and enjoy the opportunity to compete against, obviously a great program in Shawnee?
Oh, yeah, I mean, cross-town rival. I mean, these guys, big tradition. Coming back from, winning a state championship last year, it's a great opportunity for us to go out there and compete. Looking forward to it, for sure.
One other thing, Tim, with the pressures day in and day out of playing, this is kind of nice, right? You kick back for a few hours, and then you'll be home watching film after this.
Our guys are looking forward to this. I mean, they've been talking about it all summer long, and we knew we were moving RV to the 0 week, and Cherokee played Washington Township, so normally we open up with each other.
Right.
We've opened up a lot with each other over the years, and I think we're probably a little more relaxed because both of us have one game under our belt.
Brian, when you look at this game and you look at Shawnee and just how tough they are, how important is early in the game, especially against a veteran team like that for you guys?
I mean, every game's like that. I mean, really, but like I said, I mean, we watch them on film. They're well coached. They got a good group of kids that know what the plan is, and they execute it. So we'll have to come out, and we're gonna have to meet that with that same vigor, So we're looking forward to it.
Right, Tim talked a little bit about your field and how special it is there. I'm sure you guys are off to a good start, the student body getting engaged again. How much you guys looking forward to that Friday night lights and how exciting it's going to be in Marlton on Friday?
Well, speaking of our field, it's brand new turf in there. I mean, this will be the first home game on that turf. So we're looking forward to breaking it in. It'll be nice. We're looking forward to it for sure.
Well, we'd like to thank both of you guys bringing your players here. They're very enthusiastic. Also, before we go, we'd like to thank TD Bank for their outreach community program, for having these great players come here as well, the coaches for bringing them, taking some valuable time out of their game week preparation. And we'd like to thank, as always, you for watching. For Phil Anastasia, for Cherokee, for Shawnee, Marc Narducci. We'll see you next time on 1st and 10.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Organic produce and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rastelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry